Good evening, everyone. I begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay my respect to their elders past, present, and future. We also extend the respect to all our gurus around the globe. It's an auspicious time for all of us, but talking about mental health on the 7th day of the mental health month, I'm really blessed and I don't have enough words to thank all of you. I won't take much of your time because it's my girls and boy day, or it's been your days, girls. I'm just sitting and watching all of you admiring, flying in the sky, and so I'll make it sweet. Today, the event will be coordinated by our little Nidusha Sadanandan. I have her milestone day. We are preparing to come closer. I need to reserve many things about her for that day, but Nidusha is a special child for me. When she joined me, she was a little girl, 4.5 years old. I have seen her growing from a child to a little girl, now a teenager. Her milestone day being postponed, I don't know how many times, but I really admire her. Each time it gets postponed, she doesn't go back. I stress her. I put her through a lot of trauma and stuff in a nicer way, but she's always smiling and she has an inborn talent thanks to her loving mother and father and to her 2 lovely brothers too. You all know that your family is a special family to myself. Nidusha gives me some sort of sleepless night for me. I'm sure all of you can feel me. A person just walking next to you, shadow to shadow, only admiring you. How that responsibility on your shoulders. Nidusha, you don't know that, but I know. You just gives me everything and adores me. And you look up to me at any time. Even while you are crying in tears, you look at you like, Auntie, I'm sorry I disappointed you. That's what goes through in your mind. I know that. I'll reserve the rest to your special day, but trust me, you're in my heart. Over to you, Nidusha.
Thank you, Radhika Auntie. Coming from you, that means so much to me. So moving on, hello everyone. Welcome to day 7 of Bharatha Kalanjali Natya School's Navaratri series. Just before I introduce our presenters for today, I have a couple of housekeeping reminders for everyone. So please remember to stay on mute to avoid any disruptions. Please try to turn on your cameras to make it as engaging as possible. And lastly, please try to participate in the activities that have been planned for today. Also, it is advised to have your layout in gallery view so that everyone is visible on your screen. So now I'd like to introduce our presenters for tonight, who will be discussing today's topic, Swasti, specifically on the soul, mind, and body. So today we have Narmadaka, Salmya Akka, and Namrita Akka. So before I hand it over to them, I would like to give an introduction on them. So Navaratri first began learning the divine art form of Bharathanatyam at the age of 3. Her initial training began under the guidance of distinguished teachers at the Temple of Fine Arts in Perth, where she grasped the basics of Bharathanatyam. At the age of 7, she began learning from Srimati Jaya Lakshmi Raman, where she established a foundation in the Kalakshetra style of Bharatanatyam. Later, Navaratri came under the guidance of Srimati Shobhana Gopal. In 2010, Navaratri moved to Melbourne and came under the tutelage of Radhika Auntie. Navaratri has taken part in annual concerts and has performed in a number of programs and festivals. She's also been fortunate to have learnt from the esteemed P.T. Narayanan uncle. Navaratri has completed her Angacham back in 2014. Aside from her passion in Natyam, Navaratri has also expressed her interest to the classical musical instrument Veena and has learnt for more than 10 years. Navaratri has completed a degree in science, a diploma in financial planning, and is currently halfway through her master's in finance. She is also currently working as a private wealth associate in Commonwealth Bank. Even with work and studies, Navaratri has taken classes for students, myself included. Having learnt from Navaratri, I can say that she's incredibly patient, genuine, and kind.
Nidusha asked me to introduce Saumyaka. I think she is following a pattern, so I will follow her direction. She wrote me something, but you all know that I can't read, right? So I'll say from my heart. Saumya and I met back in 2009. As Jessica always says, you are still our little Rama. You've been composed throughout all these years. That's all I see in you. The spirituality, you are just a composed child, Saumya. Your interest in this dance form is beyond words. I've been messing up the ears in every day, apparently. If I remember, you had your Ranga Pravesham back in 2015. The whole family was there, including myself. Thanks for giving me that big opportunity that I can only dream of. You made me so proud that day, and I found my other family. Thank you so much for that. I want to take this opportunity to sincerely thank you. Also, Saumya has completed her Bachelor of International Business at Monash University in 2016. She has also additionally completed the Harvard Business School online certificate program on disruptive strategy. She's currently working in NBN as a manager of strategy and transformation. Saumya, thank you for your continuous love, and anytime if I need to call someone, that's you. Nidusha, over to you, Amma.
Okay, so Namrita Akka commenced learning this classical art form at the tender age of 6 in 2004. Despite traveling to various cities and countries, Namrita Akka was fortunate to find teachers of this art form and adapt to their different styles and continue to learn with the utmost dedication and perseverance. Upon arriving in Melbourne, Namrita Akka joined Bharatha Kalanjali as a student. She has grasped every opportunity to participate and perform in various concerts, festivals, and productions. In 2015, Namrita Akka completed her engagement in Chennai, which was witnessed by her whole family and friends. Aside from Namrita's many accomplishments in Natyam, Namrita Akka has also received a Bachelor in Primary Education. So now I'd like to hand it over to the Akkas to discuss today's topic.
Big thank you to Akka and Nitushaka for introducing all of us. You didn't have to do that, so big thank you to that. So thank you everyone for coming into the session. Just before we start as well, we just wanted to set the scene for this. I wouldn't say session, but conversation, because we wanted this to be a more of a not just us three speaking, but everyone sort of expressing their thoughts, opinions, any stories you have, and anything that we can relate to, because this is a really important topic, which is really important to address, amongst all of us. And we are just letting you know that we are one of you. So this is an interactive session, and we want to have a discussion with all of you, basically. We acknowledge that this session might be a bit uncomfortable for some of you. So please feel free at any time if you need to drop out as well. Again, in this whole realm of mental illness, we are not professionals in this area or topic at all, but believe that this is a topic that needs to be openly addressed, and hence why we also wanted to do Swasti around this. Again, we are not here to reinforce any messages, and we're not saying that this is the only way you can follow this or anything. There's so many different areas which you can get help from, but again, we are here to bring awareness and have open discussions about this topic.
So now we're here to talk about Swasti. So I think, not sure how many of you are familiar with Swasti, but Swasti is the name of a charity dance concert that Namrita and Narmada, myself, wanted to host in early 2020. And essentially the concept around this came because we started to notice and we started to see a lot of conversation driving towards mental health and how that's something that's quite critical and important in, you know, in everyone's life. And what we noticed was that a lot of the time when we talk about mental health, this is a topic that's not really openly addressed or discussed, especially within our South Asian community or society. And I guess we wanted to make sure that we bring awareness to it. We're able to have those discussions. We're able to open the conversation within our community, especially our dance community that we're part of. And the second reason was also because the three of us actually did our engagement quite close together, and we went on the dance journey together as well. So I guess we wanted to find a connection with dance and, you know, relate that back and have the experience to go through that again together. And so for us, the combination of, you know, doing the charity dance concert and then linking that with bringing awareness around mental health was probably the perfect combination. In regards to Swasti, I think many of you may think, you know, why the word Swasti? Why did we name it that? And, you know, it's actually a suggestion that Akka made, but, you know, it all comes back to, it's actually from literature, a form of Vedas, where they talk about Swasti is something that brings you luck, it brings you happiness and prosperity. It's also a combination of wellness around mind, body, and soul. So that's a bit of background in regards to Swasti and, you know, what we wanted to do with that dance concert. And then I guess when we're talking about mental health, I think a question that we want to, you know, give back and kind of raise it to the group here is all around, I think, what is your understanding of mental health? You know, where have you seen this play out? Or what do you feel about it, and what have you experienced or, you know, have heard of others' experiences? But we'd love to hear from the group.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a common, as I know it's hard for us to open up on this platform, you know, being such a concept which is seen as taboo, but we can all relate with this current lockdown, especially that it's becoming a point where we're just, you know, you're stuck in your own bubble, you're distant socially as well as emotionally and physically. And it's hard, you're stuck with your own thoughts. And that's where the issue of mental health happens, or mental illnesses, they arise. One thing, we'd like to do a little exercise. If you could, each and everyone, think about the people in your life that you could not live without, whether it be a parent, a friend, a colleague, a partner, a pet, and think about how many people can you truly say you could not live without in your life? I'll give you about 20 seconds. Just think about that now. So now that you've thought about that, I would like you to then think about, when was the last time you specifically reached out to those people? You know, as simple as sending a text asking them how their day went, or what was going on, or even asking how they felt. It makes you realize that we don't actually put in the effort to take a second to take into consideration how people are actually faring in this lockdown, not even in the lockdown, in general. You know, for the parents, when was the last time that you checked in with your child and asked them how they're going? I'm sure with the homeschooling environment currently, your kids are all, you know, socially distanced. They haven't seen their friends for the last 2 years of schooling, especially for the kids in BCE who haven't had the experiences we had back in the day. You know, that interaction, that social, especially the social interaction and the connection with your teachers, your friends, and you really miss out on valuable experiences that you needed to have at a young age. It is these reasons that we see kids having mental illness, or the fear and anxiety and depression associated with imbalances with your mental health. In particular, in the lockdown, at the beginning of the lockdown, we saw over a 25% increase in calls made to Beyond Blue. What's the other one? The Black Dog Institute, as well as suicide prevention line, because of the anxiety and depression that these children were facing due to the lockdown. Essentially, we want to raise awareness and bring importance to the need for us to address mental health and I guess gauge an understanding of what it really means to talk about mental health. It's not stigmatizing it as being ill or being less than anyone else who may be capable of doing things. It's about understanding that, you know, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay that you are struggling, you know, to cope with just basic life or even getting through a situation. It doesn't make you less than. You are just as capable as anyone else. We just need to find a way to navigate it or redirect towards a different solution to what you're going through.
I just want to also add as well onto Narmi's saying, I think it's also about the fact that even if it is checking up on your family and, you know, people that you live with day to day, it doesn't seem silly to ask them, you know, how are you? Like, are you doing okay? Even though you do live with them, you do see them on a day-to-day basis, you don't know what's going on in their mind. You have no idea what they're feeling unless you open out and say, how are you doing? Are you okay? Letting them know that, you know, you're there for them whenever they need to speak about, whether it's something small, whether it's something big. But I think it's really important to emphasize the fact that, you know, you ask everyone around you, ask people that you care about, especially during this lockdown, saying, are you okay? Like, you know, what's been going on? What have you been doing? Is it, you know, do you want to go for a walk? And I think it's really important to, you know, emphasize on that fact, that it's not a silly question. It's a really important question, in fact.
I think to touch on that as well, I'd like to share an experience or a story, I guess, that might help you put this into perspective, because a lot of the times I think because we don't take that step to ask people, it might be too late, right? And I think it's about how can we be a lot more proactive with the people that we're surrounded with to ensure that they know that we're here for them. Just, you know, I think just recently a colleague of mine that I work with at work committed suicide and you know, took his own life. And he's, you know, if you think about his life, he has 3 kids, you know, all completing university, all within the final year of their VCE. He had a really happy life. He was in a really good position at work as well. But one day, you know, we just get the message that he's actually committed suicide and he's no more. And when they actually investigated the case, they found out that at his home in his calendar, he actually marked the day that his youngest daughter was going to finish her year 12. And he marked it as his final day. So it's something that he had planned. He's been writing in his diaries what he's been feeling and how he's kind of waiting for the day that his daughter will be fully educated and, you know, he's kind of freed from the responsibilities that he has to be able to take this such a big step. But the people around him, the colleagues, the friends, the family had no idea how he was feeling. They had no idea what he was going through. But it's only when he actually took his life and when that day came that we actually started to put things into perspective to understand, okay, he must be going through something that's quite challenging. Was he feeling lonely? Did he have anyone to talk to? You know, I think it's when you go, or when you, I think, have these experiences or, you know, examples where things have taken place, I think that's where we start to internalize it and really understand that mental health is a very serious topic. And if you know, you guys have any examples of something similar, or you know someone who's experienced something similar, would love to hear that. I think it's, again, we want to make this a lot more of a conversation because we're a community. We're here for each other. We want to be able to trust each other. So we'd love if anyone can open up and share any experiences.
That's a really good example. I think something that we wanted to address was the stigmatism, especially in South Asian culture, that, you know, mental illness, it's non-existent in our culture. And oftentimes it's considered that you're mental rather than you have, you know, an inability, you are mentally struggling. And I think that's a distinction we wanted to make with, especially Swasti, and highlighting that, you know, talking about mental health, even in a conversation like this, is very important, just especially for your own well-being.
Are we okay? Are you okay? And I think it's really good that you girls have brought it up, and it's fantastic to discuss it, in this forum.
I think with that, maybe we should move on to the soul aspect of tonight's discussion, which Sudachna Akka, actually, you brought some very good points in terms of positive affirmations and its impact on the soul?
Yeah, so I think, it's exactly to your point, Sudakshanaka. We often talk about, when we meet people, we'll say, how are you going? And it's more of a casual conversation. Yes, I'm fine, things are good, I'm working and so forth. But very rarely do we really think about ourselves and how we feel and what we're experiencing, what are the things that we're going through. And I think it's important to understand that when we talk about the wellness of our mind, body, and soul, it's not just about mindset shift or a physical shift. It's also about your soul, right? I think there's a strong linkage, and it's actually a scientific fact that there's a link between our mind, body, and soul. We have 3 neural pathway networks, each leading to our head, to our gut, and to our heart. And they all determine and control how we feel, how we act, and how we behave. And there's many situations where we'll go through thinking about how we're feeling stressed in a particular environment, we're feeling overwhelmed, we're under a lot of pressure at work, all these emotions that we go through. But I think, how do we make sure that we're channelizing those into something that's a lot more positive and actually heading us into the right direction? So I think it's recognizing, how do you want to, live life? How do you find contentment? What brings you joy, and kind of actually putting some time and energy towards that. I think we don't spend as much time kind of thinking about ourselves, slowing down, pausing, and kind of just reflecting on how we're going. And that's very important in regards to how we want to lead life going forward, and how we want to make sure we have a healthy soul to balance things out. And I think it's about recognizing, again, how we want to do it. And there's several ways that everyone find this, right? How do you make sure that you build it as part of your habit? I think the first thing that I'd like to call out, especially, to the kutis that are here, is firstly, be confident. I think be confident and believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. I think that's the first thing. And then the second thing is about, again, I'd be more than happy for everyone here to kind of come up and talk about the different ways that they find strategies or tools that help them kind of nourish their soul. But one of them is gratitude journaling, or journaling in general. If you're able to write down, put your notes, think about time that you've spent today, kind of reflect on it, put it on a paper, wherever, I think it really helps you kind of reduce your stress and kind of put all your thoughts that are going in your head into something and kind of park it, move on. It really helps you kind of change your direction, shift to the positive, put the energy for one day down, and kind of just re-energize yourself in your body. And then the second aspect was also incorporating mindfulness and meditation. And again, meditation, I know for a lot of people could mean many different things. For some individuals, it's about exercise. For some individuals, it's about actually doing yoga or meditation. For others, it's just listening to music, sleep. I think there's many different forms of meditation, but I think, again, taking 10 minutes in your day, in your morning, and kind of reflecting on how you're feeling, how you want to, spend your day going forward, how productive you want to be, it really helps you kind of set your mood and your soul in the right direction, and really helps change the direction of how you're feeling. And if anything does come up in a particular situation, it also helps you re-energize towards that positive direction that we spoke about earlier. So I think these are some of the ways that we think, again, it really helps you nourish your soul and kind of build towards that healthy soul. If anyone has any other tips that they, kind of go through to kind of do as part of your daily habit, we'd love to hear. But as part of today's kind of discussion, we also wanted to go through a form of meditation together as a group. So we do have a really short 10-minute sort of meditation exercise that we want to do collectively. I think it just really helps you kind of set back and kind of reflect and relax. So I will get Namrita to share her screen quickly, which we'll go through.
And if everyone just also wants to find a quiet place, I know obviously you guys are in front of a computer, but anywhere that you feel relaxed and where your mind can really concentrate would be perfect as well.
This exercise on release. My intention is that you utilize the tools in this practice to release energy that does not serve you in this moment. for the purpose of receiving clarity, abundance, making room for your manifestations to grow. Take this moment to center yourself. You can continue with any activities you may be doing, but if you can, find a comfortable position with your back lying on the floor, with your knees bent, facing up, to allow your body to stay active during this practice. Taking a deep breath in, releasing it out. One more like that. Deep breath in. Releasing it out. Breathing at your own pace. Tapping into your own tempo. Only you know what your body needs in this moment. So honor your body by listening as you take a deep breath in and release it out. I want you to imagine that you are a tree, tapping into your root system, spreading deep and wide underneath you, allowing you to hold on to the earth, feeling stable, feeling secure, feeling grounded. Tapping into your trunk now. Strong, wide trunk, covered in protective layers of bark, venturing high into the sky, strong and supported. And your limbs grow from you one by one. Your tree limbs stretching outward, casting a beautiful shadow on the ground below. And each one of these limbs grow other smaller limbs and stems that leaves begin to form on. Until you are this big, beautiful tree filled with an abundance of leaves. Taking a few breaths in the space. Breathing in and breathing out. Allowing the wind around your tree to sway you gently. Taking another breath at your own pace. And I want to invite you to envision a season coming. A season of fall, a season of shedding, of release. And as this season arrives, your leaves begin to turn color. Some leaves change before the others and start to shrivel and shrink. This changing season can be any change in your life, a change in your environment, a change in a relationship within family, within your friend group, romantic relationships. Any changes you are experiencing, I want them to be embodied by this season. And as your leaves begin to change color, I want you to identify what aspects of your life are coming to a close during this time. Old patterns or habits that do not serve yourself during this change. It could be physical. It could be emotional, spiritual change. Whatever they are, I want you to embody them in your leaves and start to release, allowing them to crumple and fall to the ground below you with ease. Here, I want you to be present as these things you release decompose, as they break off and crumple on the ground, on the earth, and mix into the soil. The worms and the critters in the dirt, breaking them apart, taking in their nutrients. I want you to be present as they decompose. The lessons that you learned from these closing doors, these ending relationships, are feeding and replenishing the earth that you are growing in, nourishing your roots, putting nutrients back into the soil. The more that you release what no longer has use for you during this season, the more that you are invited to grow. Taking these next few breaths in this space, breathing in, breathing out, allowing the last of these leaves to fall from you gently. Shedding anything that does not serve you during this time, this cycle of change. Thank you for going on this journey of release with me. Know that you can envision that which you shed from yourself in this way at any time, at any point on your journey that you feel called and you feel the need to release. Some action steps. Get a salt or sugar scrub and scrub your body this week at any point. Also, starting a compost bin this week is something that you can do. Another action step that you can take is finding a tree that you can spend meditative time with. Thank you.
So thank you for everyone who actually came on the meditation journey with us. as I've discussed, this is just one form of meditation. The space, the app we actually used is called Headspace, and you're more than welcome to kind of try it. There's also many other forms of similar sort of exercises that are available on YouTube for free as well. But I guess to this group, I'd like to ask, like, how many of you have tried this for the first time? Even if not, does anyone here practice meditation on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's a good example, Purni. Especially, I think that's the next section of the session, which we'd like to go through, the body and its impact in Swasti, and how, especially during lockdown, when you're just constantly sitting and you're stationary, that it's important to get up and move, even just to have a more of a positive effect on your body as well as your mind. And I think Namrata's going to talk us through the body section of it. Yeah.
Sorry, I just also wanted to emphasize how Purni said, for her, maybe this meditation didn't, suit as much, but rather yoga did. So again, it's about how Sami also mentioned, it's about finding what suits you, because everyone's different in that sense. So it's about finding what is beneficial to you, and what would better you in the sense of finding your head, finding your space. And this ties in with our last one, which is actually body, which I think encompasses both the mind and the soul. Because essentially, when in your mind, if you're feeling, if you're not feeling well, your body sort of represents that. You kind of feel like a bit of a slump, sort of, you feel weak, you don't feel good about it. And I think it's really important to emphasize how, exercise ties into this, and so does dance as well. Bharathanatyam, any sort of form gets your body, moving, plays a huge part in keeping your body active and, nourishing it with this energy and feeling alive. A certain specific scenario during lockdown happened actually a couple of days for me, where I was actually going through one of my dance pieces from my Ranga Pravesham, and I had to learn it because I was teaching one of our BK students. And so I had, one session, I was absolutely exhausted, because that was probably the first time I actually, got off my chair, off of all my assignments, and actually danced. And the feeling I felt afterwards, once everything was done, I kind of sat down, it was unreal. I could not explain it. It was just me letting out that stress, sweating. It felt so refreshing. I remember walking out of my room, and my roommate was like, "What did you do? You seem so different." And I think it was just that 1 hour of just letting everything go and dancing and just getting your mind into something else other than, I would usually come back to sit in front of my laptop and just do my assignments. That was it. I never prioritized putting time aside to go for a walk, do yoga if it is, dance, anything that makes you happy and lets you release that energy, reflects how your mind is exactly feeling. And again, emphasizing the fact that exercise can improve your sense of control and the ability of your self-esteem as well. And I guess I kind of wanted to throw it to you guys. Is there anything, during this lockdown now as well, is there any sort of exercise or activity, which, as Purni said, for her, it was yoga, which, you enjoy doing or would want to start doing to help channel your energy towards?
This is Mano here from Sydney. I would actually say the lockdown was positive for me, because I learned more about the nature.
Yeah.
And enjoyed walking. You have the fresh air, you forget everything, and I spent hours. And I also explored my area, found so much waterfalls, which was calming, and it was really good for my body.
And I think just to emphasize as well, I think during this lockdown, we also got so many opportunities, as you said, to explore things that we wouldn't, if we were in the hustle bustle of our normal life, it would be so hard. You wouldn't prioritize, going for a walk and, seeing nature and finding whatever it is that, you've discovered so far, because we are so busy. Whereas now we have the time. And the question is why, why can't we channel our energy towards finding something like that, finding a beautiful waterfall, finding a nature reserve that you wouldn't have done, regularly. And this ties into what we want to do next, which is sort of an interactive one, which is why we said, if you guys can find some space, we actually want to go through a couple of stretches, some yoga poses, and core workout, just to, get everyone just moving their body, because, as it is, we are trying to get an interactive session, and, sitting down, it's not really going to help. So we thought going through a couple of exercises would be fun with everyone as well. So if everyone can just find a space, preferably on the floor, that would be amazing. All right, so we first want to start off by doing some stretches. So a really good stretch, especially to, stretch out your legs from sitting down constantly, as we all know, is the leg stretch. So stretching out, reaching to your toes, and doing the same thing on the other side. So just take 20 seconds to yourself. Switch to the other leg. And then the next one to focus on is reaching out and touching your toes. So again, stretching out your spine. And the last one that we also had was going for a lunge. So lunge up and stretching your arms. And on to the other side. Perfect. And the next one we want to also move on to was some yoga poses. So as many as you know, I don't know if you guys have all heard of downward dog. So you using your spine to stretch out. So you're up in this position. And make sure you can bring in your hands as much as you can.
And your heels on the floor if you can.
Yep. And gently coming down. And the next one we want to focus on was a Cobra Pose. So again, really using your neck and your spine to stretch it out. So stomach flat on the ground and lifting your torso up. Slowly coming up. And the final one that we want to do was the Surya Namaskar. So this is all about balance. Hands up. And if it helps as well, focusing on one spot on the wall with your balance. And then core workout. So we want to start with the plank, which we know is really hard, but again, it's really good for your core muscles right in the middle. So just a plank for maybe 20 seconds. So your stomach flat. You're going to make sure you bring your elbows up and your heels up as well. As you're balancing yourself on your elbows.
Keep your hips low and don't arch your back.
Perfect. And then going on to the leg raise. Narmada, did you want to explain this one?
So this one, you lie flat on your back. We'll do 10 leg raises. Hands, if it's easier, underneath your bottom. And we just raise our legs together. That's 1. And back down. 2. And back down. 3. And back down. 4. And back down. 5. And back down. 6. And back down. 7, and back down. 8, and back down. 9, and back down. And one more, and back down. And the last one, which we were going to do today, once you sit back up, if you don't have very good balance, leave your feet on the floor, and you're going to lay it back slightly, holding your hands together, and move from side to side. If you've got a bit of balance, lift your legs up and do that. We'll do that about 10 times. Think about now, everyone should be feeling it in here and in your back. And I hope everyone got a little bit of movement and stretching through those exercises.
How does that make everyone feel? Does that make everyone feel good? Especially, I don't know, it depends on you as well. If it was after a very long time, I definitely know I'm out of breath, but I don't know about any of you guys.
Yeah. But no, I think the point is, like, we need to keep moving our body. We need to be able to, especially during lockdown, I think we're all, again, as to Namrata's point, we're all sitting at home. So I think having that movement, having a bit of physical exercise actually really helps you. And it actually pushes a lot of your happy hormones, which will ultimately make you feel better. So I think that was sort of what we wanted to cover in today's session. As we've discussed, there's many different ways that we can actually address it and try to incorporate it as part of your daily life and habit to deal with stress, to deal with any sort of, I guess, issues or emotions that you're going through and really overcome that. But I think ultimately, you guys should be aware that we're here and we're a dance community, and I think we're here to support each other. We're here to talk about anything that you need to. So seek help. Don't be afraid or don't be ashamed to seek help or talk to someone that you can trust, whether that's a family member or that's professional help. There's no differentiation in that, but I think it's just knowing that if you need help, please do reach out.
I think also a point we'd like to make is that sorry, one moment. Oh, I can't share. There, I will send through a link of some very useful resources you can seek if you need professional help. If you're unable, if you don't feel comfortable, talking to a family member or a friend, or even, any of the akkas at the school, you can always seek these help from places such as Beyond Blue, Headspace, Black Dog Institute, or Lifeline if you're feeling down and you just need some professional assistance. A lot of these resources are free, and they're honestly a place you can go if you need, assistance in some way. Sometimes it's hard to open up. I'm sure even on this call, it was hard for people to open up and talk about their own, situations and experience.
Sorry, just one thing that I would like to add on at this point is, one, as you guys say, it's so important to reach out for help, talk to others and reach out. I think it's also our due responsibility that we listen to people if someone comes to us, instead of like what Preeta was saying earlier, that her grandma said, yeah, it's all okay, it's all normal. Instead of standardizing it, do understand and put yourself in their shoes and say, and empathize with them rather than just saying it's okay. I think that's also a certain amount of responsibility that lies within us to probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else anyone else would like to share?
Yeah, any comments, anything?
I just want to say that I think it's so wonderful that you girls have talked about this. I think the fact that you've guided everyone in the dance community through the exercises and have actually given everyone really practical resources to reach out to as well. has just gone such a long way. And I think I definitely benefited from those exercises just then. I think it was really helpful to get moving. And I just wanted to say, I think it's wonderful that you guys have broached this topic today. And I think it's really important for our dance school. So kudos, girls. It's awesome.
I also want to add on to what Son said and what Deepthi said, that this is so important. And we're really lucky to have the community that we have because of our dance school and because of Akka and because of, our gurus. We're so lucky. So many people don't have another avenue like this. So many people don't have a community like this. So even though we don't see each other often, and sometimes it can be like, you're in this class and you're in this class. And, at the end of the day, we're all part of Bharatha Kalanjali Natyam School. And that's what makes us all be like one family. Like Akka always says, these are my daughters, this is my son. And so, and she means it because we are all part of a family. And so thank you so much for having this session. And I think it's been really nice to, even though we know it, it's been really nice to hear you guys say it, that, we're all here for each other throughout this COVID time and always. So thank you so much, girls.
Guys, I'm going to second that too with nuns and sons, exactly what they said. And a couple of things that got me through high school. This is mainly for the young ones out there, primary and high school. Like back then we couldn't really talk to our mums and stuff because they'll be like, if I told my mum, oh, I've got issues at school or someone's bullying me or I don't know who to talk to, she'll be like, that's just normal. That happens. Get over it, toughen up kind of thing. But two things that got me through was just playing basketball or just dancing, like random dancing. So if you can't meditate like me, well, back then, because I can't focus, I'll be thinking, Jessie sent a message, she'll be thinking of what to cook and all that sort of stuff. If you can't meditate, do something you like, play some sport, dance, even dance like to random music. It doesn't have to be Bharathanatyam, it could be like hip hop or whatever. Just do something or just watch funny videos on YouTube. It literally takes your mind off everything. Okay, at the moment I've matured and now I just look at this little one to calm me down. But you guys just do what makes you feel good. So, and well done, girls. You've done really, really well for this program here. So good stuff.
I think with that being said, I would like to thank Narmada Akka, Samyaka and Namrita Akka for today's session. It has truly been very eye-opening and a very interactive session. Also, a big thanks to Bravina Auntie, Deepthi Auntie for handling the technology side, and also Vaibhavi Akka for the brochure. So thank you.